Hello, I'm Bryan Atkinson and welcome once again to UK Aircraft Explored. In this video we shall cover just some of the many ground crew tasks carried out on the Avro Lancaster Bomber. We shall look at methods used whilst handling the Lancaster Bomber on the ground and some of its preparation for flight. As always, we shall be referring to wartime Air Ministry manuals. I hope you find this interesting. The towing arrangements for the Lancaster are shown here. Before moving the aeroplane on the ground, care should be taken that the entrance and maintenance ladders are not left against the aeroplane. Before towing the aeroplane, ensure that the undercarriage jury struts are in position between the top joint of the shock absorber strut and the locking joint on the retracting strut. When forward towing, the aeroplane is towed by a towing bridle attached to the eye bolt at the bottom of the inner compression leg of each undercarriage unit. The tailwheel steering arm should be used in conjunction with the towing bridle. When backward towing, a towing bar is mounted on two small wheels and hooked onto the bobbins at the ends of the tailwheel forks and secured in position by a spring-loaded plunger. The arm is fitted with a spring-loaded mechanism which releases the aeroplane if the pull applied by the tractor exceeds 3,350 pounds. The release is spring operated and is quite simple to re-engage. When using the tail towing bar, the elevators must be locked in the neutral position. Picketing basically is a method of securing an aircraft down when parked in the open to restrain movement due to weather in a parked area of an aerodrome. A diagram of the picketing of the Lancaster is shown here. The main plane is picketed from the shackles on the front spar at rib 6 near the wingtip joint and at rib 21 near the junction of the outer plane and centre section. Doors are provided in the skin on the underside of the plane for access to these shackles, as shown here. The fuselage is picketed at the tail end by ropes lashed round the tailwheel axle and to special eye bolts which are screwed into the sides of the fuselage just above the rear end of the bomb doors. When the aeroplane is picketed, the main wheels should be chocked and the chocks held in position by stakes. The picketing ropes at the centre fuselage and wingtip positions should be fitted with 1-ton shock absorbers. When an aircraft is picketed out in a wind exceeding 40 miles an hour, the ailerons, elevators and rudders should be secured with external clamps. Care should be taken when removing the picketing ropes from the aircraft to ensure that the special eye bolts in the sides of the fuselage are removed and replaced by standard screwed plugs. The eye bolts are stowed with the bomb gear crutching handles in a pocket in the fuselage intermediate centre portion. Once parked, canvas covers are provided for the engines, turrets and canopy, as shown in this diagram. When jacking up the aircraft, bipod jacks are placed under the jacking pads on the front spar of the centre section, and a universal jacking trestle fitted with a special beam is placed under the tail end of the fuselage, just forward of the tail wheel at former 35. The jacking pads must be fitted to the front spar before commencing to jack up, and the jacks must be placed with the plane of the jacking legs parallel to the centre line of the aircraft. It is necessary to lift the hinge nose of the centre section to fit the pads to the stud bolts provided. Steadying trestles and gantries should be placed under the outer planes and fuselage nose, as shown here. The jacks have sufficient extension to raise the aircraft from the position of one tyre deflated to the flying position with the wheels clear of the ground. When salvaging an aircraft after it had crashed on the airfield, there are 4 quick jacking methods that should be used. In using these methods, it is assumed that the aircraft can be moved intact and that no dismantling is necessary. The trolley arms should be to the rear, so that a man on each handle can assist in manoeuvring the trolley in turns. In each example, as soon as convenient, open the bomb doors, remove any bombs and close the doors. In this method of salvage, an aircraft has landed with one main wheel unit retracted but undamaged. It is required to lift the aircraft in order to lower the other main wheel unit. After the procedure is carried out, the aircraft may then be towed away by attaching cables to the inboard propeller hubs after the removal of the spinners. In this method of salvage, again an aircraft has landed with one main wheel unit retracted. It is required to lift the aircraft onto the salvage trolleys. Once the method is carried out, remove the tail wheel chocks. The aircraft may then be towed away by attaching cables to the inboard propeller hubs after the removal of the spinners. In this method of salvage, an aircraft has landed with both main wheel units retracted but undamaged. It will be required to lift the aircraft in order to lower both main wheel units. Once the procedure is completed and the main wheels are lowered and jury struts are fitted, the aircraft may be towed away. In this method of salvage, an aircraft has landed with both main wheel units retracted. It will be required to lift the aircraft onto salvage trolleys. Once the procedure is completed and the main wheels are lowered and jury struts fitted, the aircraft may be towed away. We shall now look at rigging the Lancaster. The main plane and tail plane are fixed cantilever structures and cannot be adjusted. Shims, however, may be fitted in either the top or the bottom of the centre joint of the tail plane to correct any slight error in the verticality of the fin and rudder. Apart from this, the only rigging operations are those of checking the diagonal measurements and the incidence and dihedral of the main plane and tail plane, and checking the movements of the control surfaces. The methods of making these checks are shown in the following diagrams. Moving on to the undercarriage, the main wheels and tail wheel should be kept clean and free from mud, particularly at the knee joints on the retracting struts. In wet weather, this joint should be cleared of mud and dirt and lubricated after each flight. When the main wheel units are down and the aeroplane is resting on the wheels, the jury struts must be fitted between the top joint of the shock absorber strut and the joint at the centre of the retracting strut. These will enable the aeroplane to be towed or other maintenance work to be done without any danger of the main wheel units being retracted inadvertently. Main and tail wheel tyres must be checked before each flight and changed or inflated as required. When servicing the Elsan sanitary closet, it is important that the sewage should always be covered with liquid. If necessary, add water occasionally. When cleaning the closet, the sewage container can be removed by means of a wire handle attached to it. It should then be emptied and swilled out. Before recharging the closet, the Elsan chemical should be well stirred. 1 pint of the chemical should be then added to 1/2 to 3/4 of a gallon of water and well mixed. When removing pop riveted panels, the following should be carried out. Most of the assembly panels shown in this diagram are secured by pop rivets, which must be drilled out before the panels can be removed. This drill should be used for this purpose. It is fitted with a screwdriver end, which prevents the special pop rivet from revolving with the drill. The mandrel heads should be punched out of the rivets before the latter are drilled. When replacing these assembly panels, they should be riveted with the same type of rivets that were removed. When removing a power plant, a special gantry which can be erected on the main plane is provided for use when the normal hangar roof crane is not available. The aeroplane must be in the tail down position in order to use the gantry. An air screw can be removed from the engine by means of an overhead crane, if available, or by using the gantry fitted with the extension struts. The outer extension strut should be adjusted to the correct length as indicated by the label on the strut. The air screw can be attached to the crane or gantry hook by means of the standard air screw lifting sling. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found it interesting. If you like what I do on this channel, please click the like button and please subscribe, and also click the bell. Remember, it's free and you'll receive notifications when my future videos are posted. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.